Well, Felix Großschartner has lost a substantial amount of time to Søren Kragh Andersen over the second half of this course. Remember, he was pretty close to him at the split time. He was only 5 seconds slower than Pello Bilbao, and that made him about 3 seconds slower than Søren Kragh Andersen. But once again, just goes to show how well Søren Kragh Andersen paced it, differently from almost any other rider, with the exception of his teammate Michael Matthews. And Felix Großschartner, well, we just lost the clock there, but there we go, 36 seconds again. Hemorrhaging time in the second half of the course.
Yeah, it does.
Exactly the same time as Julian Alaphilippe.
It does definitely show that sometimes the specialists just have that better knack of pacing, and on a course like this, it's becoming clear that pacing is so important.
Großschartner's role for the next few days will be to support this man as he attempts to win Paris-Nice. Max Schachmann, the German, who somewhat surprisingly leads Paris-Nice. But the more we learn about him and the more we've seen the evidence of his confidence growing with each passing stage, he will be looking to stamp his authority over this competition today. And it's a parcours, this individual time trial, that is potentially very well suited to him. It's Giacomo Nizzolo, his 2-minute man, going off 2 minutes before him. Realistically, I think we might see the green jersey being caught by the yellow jersey over the duration of this individual time trial. It's not impossible.
I'd say Nizzolo certainly isn't taking it easy, is he? So he's going deep in this when it's not his speciality. He's not racing for GC, so that's interesting to see. Look at the roads here. This is quite a unique time trial. It's very rare you see them with on really small, rough country roads like this. Yes, for Stevens, he's way off the pace, which again, it's not a surprise. Steven, we know, is a one-day racer, a classic racer. Time trialing certainly isn't his area of expertise, but so same goes for him. A respectable time, considering again he is a sprinter, not a time trial sprinter.
Very respectable, isn't it? Really. 44 seconds down, Giacomo Nizzolo. And the next rider shakes his head. He's not particularly enjoying this experience, I don't think, or something irritated him there, maybe with the spectator on the road, not sure.
I don't know. I think the team car was asking him something, and he was just, obviously you can't talk into the radio, so you're in that position, so he's just giving a hand signal.
Niels Pollitt coming to the line, the German. Formerly, of course, for many years of Katusha, man who's finished second in Paris-Roubaix a couple of years ago, or last year, wasn't it, to Philippe Gilbert, when Gilbert out-sprinted him in the velodrome. What an engine Niels Pollitt has. Something of a surprise that Pollitt doesn't go a little bit better sometimes in time trialing. His position's always great, isn't it? And he's just so powerful. Yeah,
he's huge. Look at him. He's like the anti-Igita.
So of those riders who have finished already, the GC riders, as we pick up a shot of the yellow jersey now, approaching the checkpoint. 15 seconds, going to be close to the best time of Pello Bilbao, 10:08. The continuing best time at the checkpoint. I think he's going to go faster. He has gone faster. Max Schachmann has torn this race apart so far. Now, we've seen it time and time again, though. Riders who've gone really well over the opening section seem to lose time on the second section. How's he paced this? At this point, though, you have to say Max Schachmann has absolutely made a statement, and that's impressive.
Very impressive, and as you can see here, it's almost exactly the halfway mark, that time check. So it's interesting, as you say, that some riders have come through that time check doing well, and they've then lost a chunk of time. Now, we don't know if Schachmann's going so well that was him pacing it, but we're soon going to find out.
There've been a lot of positive splits, haven't there?
Mm-hmm.
And not many negative ones. Søren Kragh Andersen saved a lot for the second half of the course, and at the moment that means he's still in the hot seat. Jasper Stuyven, his teammate Vincenzo Nibali, has lost out a little bit in the general classification. He, of the riders who have finished, has, I think, if I've got my maths right, has been leapfrogged by Dylan Teuns, who's taken back those 9 seconds deficit that he had over Vincenzo Nibali. So there's been a little bit of reshuffling in the lower orders of the general classification. All those riders, though, still within touch. Sergio Higuita, for many people, is still the favourite to win Paris-Nice, given how well he can climb. But this is very important, and it is, I think, as Jonathan Vaughters was suggesting, respectable at the very least from Sergio Higuita, Going to be around about 45 seconds thereabouts, maybe 50 seconds down on Søren Kragh Andersen's time, but he is close to the time of Julien Alaphilippe, just 10 seconds slower. He's gone faster than Nairo Quintana and faster than Vincenzo Nibali by around about 7 seconds. So that's decent.
That's a very decent time, and as I say, although it's a chunk of time off the actual specialists who win the stage, for the GC riders, so far it puts them in a good position, but the test is going to see just how well Schachmann is. Yeah. Can he take this to the finish line and not lose time? As the majority of other riders that have gone fast with that time check, they have, as he said, done positive splits in the second. So Schachmann is whether he can buck that trend or not.
That is the issue. If Schachmann carries that on, as he appears to be doing at the moment, Paris-Nice could almost be over. I mean, 26 seconds his advantage over Sergio Higuita going into this stage. You'd imagine he's going to extend that advantage, even if now the wheels were to come off a bit. Yeah,
he could find himself with a minute on second place at the end of the day, which does definitely put him in the driving seat going into the harder stages of the weekend. And it would mean that everyone else is going to have to launch an offensive, a significant offensive, to try and dislodge him.
Yeah, Bora Hansgrohe would have to shift to a full-on defence of that yellow jersey, and they'd have a lot of very aggressive racers trying to hurt them as well. So a job to do still. So we're coming towards the business end of this individual time trial now. We do have Mats Schmidt crossing the line there. Jasper Stuyven still out on the course.
Looking very smooth, in great position.
Third place in the general classification. What it must be to get a win of such importance that early on in the season. It must just give you such confidence, just make you relax into your racing for the rest at least of the spring campaign before other targets hone into sight.
Completely. In that opening weekend of the Classic with Het Nieuwsblad, it's often not truly indicative of how the Classics will pan out, but if you are performing well in there and if you win, it does take a lot of pressure off you.
2 kilometres further back down the road from Jasper Stuyven, a little bit over, Max Schachmann. And we discussed it yesterday, how similar he is in so many ways to Julien Alaphilippe, the man who was, up until last year, the year before last, I should say, a colleague at De Koning Quickstep. But got very much the same group, the same skill set as Julien Alaphilippe has Max Schachmann. Similar age and a similarly dynamic racer, with a similar question mark hanging over him. How will he fare on the 16-kilometre summit finish that will perhaps determine the overall outcome of Paris-Nice on stage 7? That's the big question. We knew that he could deliver a good time trial, and he appears to be doing just that. Doesn't appear, by his body language at least, to be fading in the second half. But that's only one part of this Paris-Nice conundrum that he's somehow got to answer and crack, because the summit finish is much more unknown territory, I think, for Max Schachmann. Jasper Stuyven, 109 down on Søren Kragh Andersen, who continues to hold on to the hot seat. The only rider who really threatens him now is the man in the yellow jersey. Max Schachmann had gone faster than Søren Kragh Andersen by around about 4 seconds at the split time, but we know that Søren Kragh Andersen just blasted apart the second half of the course, and it seems unlikely that Schachmann would have been able to match that, but we'll see. Those are the gaps at the finish line, where Asgreen is in provisional second place, 12 seconds down on Søren Kragh Andersen.
So just over 2 minutes for him to get to the finish. It's 2Ks, it is going to be touch and go, that's for sure, but it's still within the realms of possibility.
Yeah, he can't entirely relax, I don't think, Søren Kragh Andersen at the finish line. Giacomo Nizzolo will be losing over a minute in the general classification, which is of no concern to him.
But it's been a decent ride by Nizzolo, respecting his position on the race. Perhaps one of his goals was just not to get caught.
Which he's not going to be, because he's well inside the final kilometre now, and Max Schachmann is still approaching the kite, the Flamme Rouge.
1 minute 30 to make it to the finish line. 18:51 is the best time.
Tight, isn't it?
It's very tight.
You'd have to say probably advantage Kragh Andersen at this point. Giacomo Nizzolo. Yeah, I think you're right, David. I think he's respecting the jersey and respecting the event. And it's not the worst workout either for a sprinter, is it?
No. No, it's been a good ride for him.
And it's been a good Paris-Nice for Giacomo Nizzolo. In fact, it's been a good 2020 for this man, who's shown his form in the classics with some high placings, winning the sprint in Köln-Brussels-Köln and picking up a top 10 in Le Samin, coming to Paris-Nice, taking a stage, wearing that green jersey, with a chance, I think, of holding on to that green jersey all the way to the end. And that would be a notable achievement as well, to win the points competition at Paris-Nice.
Yeah, it would be, and I think it's definitely within the realms of possibility.
Right, 600 metres, thereabouts, 30 seconds to get it done.
No.
It's not going to happen, is it?
No, I think it's going to be just outside of 19 minutes. So this just goes to show how good Søren Kragh Andersen's ride was, because he really did bring it home so fast compared to everybody else.
It is still close, you know. It's still tight. 10 seconds, a couple of 100 metres to go for Max Schachmann. If he's going to miss out, it's not going to be by much, but there's still 100 metres to go. So Søren Kragh Andersen wins the individual time trial, but Max Schachmann wins the battle of statements in the race for the general classification. 6 seconds down on Søren Kragh Andersen's time. Second place, though, comfortably, and he's put time into all his general classification rivals. 30 seconds he's just gained on Dylan Teuns, Julien Alaphilippe and Felix Großschartner, and more on the rest. He's going to be close, if not more than a minute ahead of Sergio Higuita going into the big tests that are still to come on Paris-Nice.
Andersen and Max Schachmann were the only men to break 19 minutes. Thomas de Gent's early time held up very well. Casper Asgreen only nudged him down to fourth by a second. But none of the race favourites, save for Schachmann, made the top 10. Ned's on-air arithmetic was correct. Tish Benoit, Dylan Teuns and Julien Alaphilippe all finished 36 seconds behind the winner, half a minute behind the yellow jersey. He was another 10 seconds ahead of Sergio Higuita. Thibaut Pinot just barely beat Nairo Quintana. Vincenzo Nibali was behind him. Everyone, though, was behind Søren Kragh Andersen.
Almost can't believe it, but I was really aiming for it, and I did my best, and my legs they were good again, so I'm really happy. Yeah.
Pretty demanding course.